Okay, so we're a few days from re-election. That's very nice. Very strong re-election. We've got to talk to one of our top secret advisors, okay? And Anthony, are you there?
I'm here, Mr. President. Are you okay today? How you feeling? How are the lungs?
We're feeling very strong. I had four more steroid shakes, so we're doing very well. And remember, nobody's supposed to know that we're talking, okay?
I promise. Look,
In the
I promise. I
in the
had to keep
public, I
it.
still hate you, okay? And
Yeah,
you're a nasty. Because and by the way, I'm still a little upset over the Republican voters against Trump thing that you did. I thought
yeah.
you were better than those people.
No, we had to do that, sir. We're trying to save the country from you, so we had no choice but to put that together. I mean, you're running a death cult.
No, there's okay. It's called pro-life, okay? And there's no way to prove more that you're pro-life than getting sick, almost dying, and then coming. It was sort of. Are you? I always meant to ask. Are you Catholic?
Yes, sir. Of course, you know.
Well, okay, okay.
Yeah,
So you know Jesus. A lot of people know who he is. He's very sort of strong in the Catholic and the Christian religions. You know, he died and came back, and all of a sudden, it was a beautiful thing. You remember? You've heard of this, right?
yeah.
Not a lot of
Heard
people
the
know that,
story,
but
sir.
that's
Yes, I have.
well, that's sort of what I did with COVID. So you say death cult, I say new life. Trump was reborn, and I did it, by the way, in 2 days. Jesus took 3 days. So I don't know why you would think that's a death cult. I think it's a sort of strong life cult. We're calling it a life cult.
All right.
So
Well,
the reason I'm
well,
contacting you, obviously,
yeah. Go ahead, sir.
I want,
How can I be helpful?
well, you
You're
know,
not going to fire me again, though. I mean, that's the good news. I don't work for you anymore, so that's good. My heart was racing a little bit when we got on the phone this morning.
no, well, it's okay. You know, we're doing sort of off the books. Remember how Nixon had his sort of secret people giving him advice? I want you to sort of be my Watergate, but without the hotel and the security. But we're only a few days away from my reelection. And I want to know, you always gave it to me, I would say straight,
Yeah.
unlike my vice president.
Yes.
And I want to know, what do you think I can do in the last few days? Because I'm already doing, you see the rallies. The rallies are unbelievable.
I got to tell you, sir. I mean, you're coming in at a low altitude right now, so you should focus on Pennsylvania. Drop that plane into Pennsylvania. You could probably get the infection rates up before election day. So do like 3 or 4 super spreader events in Pennsylvania. You'll get tons of people sick, and then this way, they'll show up on election day to vote, and it'll be a huge super spreader event. You'll take out a lot of your supporters.
No. I think you're talking about my. What if I do many super spreader events in Philadelphia, and then all the protesters come out? They get COVID. They stay home. I think that's a great idea.
Well,
That's.
I mean,
I knew I called you for a
I don't
reason.
know if you're going to be super welcome in Philadelphia. I mean, it may not be, but some of the rural areas, I think you're super welcome. And drop the plane down in those rural areas. How's Stormy, by the way? Have you talked to her recently? I see the book.
Well, I
The,
saw you. You know, I saw on your little show off of all the books behind you to sort of say, "Oh, look at me, I read books." So I got, I put my favorite book in the background as well. So
it wasn't that fair to you, though, sir. I was with her on the Bill Maher show, and she told me your peepee was like a small shiitake mushroom. I mean, I don't know. She wasn't that fair.
no,
And
no,
in
no.
the
You
book,
must have misheard.
it says it's very
Okay,
distinguished.
okay. You obviously misheard. What she must have said was a mushroom cloud. Like, you remember when we bombed Japan and you had the big mushroom cloud? I think she was saying I had a mushroom cloud. A
I may have
nuclear
misunderstood.
powered atomic bomb penis is, I think, what she called me. So you
Yeah,
probably
well,
misheard.
I haven't been able to go to a Japanese restaurant since I spoke to her. I mean, it's very hard to eat miso soup at this point. But having said that, maybe I misunderstood her. It's possible.
I think you misunderstood very strongly. And by the way, why do you keep going on Don Lemon's show? You know that I hate him the most. Not for race reasons, but I hate him the most. And you
Why do
keep
you hate
going
him the
on.
most? Why do you hate him the most?
There's something, I don't know if it's the lighting in the studio that he has that makes him sort of look darker and gloomier. I'm not sure. But when I see him, I just have a reaction. It's like I want to cross the street, except I'm in my home. Whenever Don Lemon comes on my TV, I want to cross the street for safety. Not racially, though. It's not a race thing, but I don't know. And he's so sarcastic and rude. He's so rude. And you go on there, and I'll admit, you go on and you sound sort of very smooth and very almost comforting. That's why I'm calling you, because I say, even though he says nasty things about me, Anthony still sort of says, the way he says it is sort of polite. And Don Lemon is so rude, and he's always laughing like something's funny. It's a total disgrace.
Well, listen, I know that you like hate watching. I've been with you where you turn the television channels to the people that you hate, and I know that you'll see me on Don Lemon. So that's probably one of the reasons why I go on there so often.
Well, I wish you wouldn't. I would prefer, even Anderson Cooper is better than Don Lemon. So I don't understand.
Why
But what do
why
you
is
think?
Anderson Cooper better than Don Lemon, Mr. President?
Excuse me?
Why is Anderson Cooper better than Don Lemon?
Well, he comes from great wealth. I respect that. He has a wealthy family, so he comes from good people. And you know, there's just something about Don Lemon. There's just something about him. When I look at him, I have a reaction. I don't know what it is. It's definitely not race, but it's something. My question for you is, I have a couple of questions for you, and then we'll get to your specific strategies. Who do you think was my best communications or press person? Because we've had a lot.
Well, I thought Sean was probably the best. My nickname for him is Liar Spice because all of the Spice Girls have a nickname, and I thought his would be appropriate, Liar Spice. And he would lie
If you want to be
indiscriminately.
my liar, you better lie for my prez. How about
Yes,
that? That's sort of a Spice Girls
exactly. I mean,
remix.
I think Liar Spice by far was your best guy because you would tell him to lie and he would just lie indiscriminately. And he had the suit that was all bunched up like this, though. I mean, it was a little embarrassing, but the suit was probably $95 or something like that. But I would say this, you should bring him back. I mean, because he's the type of guy that will say and do anything that you want. And by the way, just so you know, and I'm sure you noticed, he hated your guts during the primaries. Okay. He was on with CNBC in the control room trying to shut your mic during the CNBC debate. But man, what an ass kisser. I've never seen somebody that could reverse like that.
Well,
I
as you
mean,
know, though, the thing
he was
is,
so far up your colon, you could only see his ankles sticking out of your asshole. It was a very impressive performance by Liar Spice.
no, I agree. That's a good nominee. And here's the thing people don't understand about me. I don't like it when people talk nasty about me, but there's no greater feeling than getting somebody who hates you to then talk nicely about you. That's the same way I feel about my relations with my wife, Melatonin. I know she hates me, but she's in a prenup. She's required for one conjugal night per month. And she's so disgusted by me. And it's sort of, I don't know, it feels even better when the person hates you. So that's how I felt with Sean Spicer as well. I always thought Sarah Huckabee was the best, though. I thought she was such a powerful, righteous warrior for me.
Well, listen, I like Sarah, but I don't, she was always, she was reading the Bible almost every day in the press office when I was there for the 11 days. And so I think it probably hurt her to lie like that. But I think in Sean's case, he was like, Mr. President, let's lock and load. I'm going to be like a Pez dispenser of lies for you, just shooting the candy out everywhere. So when I hear you, but let's go back to melanoma for a second, because when you lose next week, I think she's going to be the happiest person on the planet. But I'm up there. I mean, I'm up there. My wife hates you almost as much as Madagascar or melanoma hates you.
Okay,
But
well, everybody's always getting my wife's, excuse me. Everybody's always getting my wife's name wrong. It's mesothelioma. Okay, thank you.
Mesothelioma. Yeah. So
Say it
okay. So I'm
nicely.
telling when mesothelioma is like doing the dance happy jig after you lose, I'm going to be somewhere in the background also doing a dance. But I have to cede to her that she'll be the happiest person on the planet. But I'm up there.
Well, I have to be honest with you. Please don't tell this. This is just between the two of us. If I lose, which I don't think I'm going to lose, I think I'm going to win very strongly. And I think I know you've said you think I'm a coward and will leave if I lose.
Yeah, no question.
Nothing could be further from the truth. Okay. I have the Mountain Dew for Brains army ready to fight to the death if I lose this election. So
Okay.
watch out. Okay. We've got bath salts and Mountain Dew ready to hop these people up on some very powerful Trumpness. But I'm actually going to be happy. Nobody realizes this. If I lose, which I don't think is going to happen, I'm going to be happy too, because everybody said, Mr. President, sir, you can't divorce Mesopotamia while you're president. But as you know, she turned 50 this year, which was, I think, even worse than COVID. I think it was a bigger tragedy than COVID that I was married to a woman who turned 50. So I've already got divorce papers ready. Okay. And I'm going to have ICE deport Madagascar so that I can finally, and then we're going to do a reality show. I'm going to buy OAN, which is a great news network. They won't have you on, I bet. And I'm going to put both news, real news, and also Trump Bachelor, a Trump Bachelor show where we have women vying to be the fourth Mrs. Trump.
What's
So
the
I'm
age
pretty
range?
happy too. I'm pretty happy too
age
either way.
range are you going for? What age range are you going for?
We're going to have 3 divisions on the show. We're going to have age appropriate, which is going to be 29 to 35. We're going to have Ivanka, who'll just be her own category. And we're going to have the Epstein division, which is going to be the sort of questionable but enticing. So we've got, it's going to appeal. They call it demographics. We're going to have across the board demographics. If you're an old woman who's 35, you're going to find some people to like on the show. If you're an Ivanka fan, she'll be featured heavily. And if you're, in that crucial TikTok demographic, you might also see some people on the show. So it's, we've got a strong media plan if I lose, but I don't think I'm going to lose. I think I'm going to win. I think I'm going to surprise. Did you think I was going to win in 2016?
No, come on, sir. You remember those conversations that you and I had. We didn't think you were going to win. You didn't think you were going to win. You were getting ready to fly off to Scotland to the golf course. You were
and excuse me, what happened? What happened then?
Yeah, you won. You won.
So why do you think this year is so different?
Well, I think your track record, unfortunately, you mishandled the COVID situation. You've blown up the economy. You've wrecked our alliances with the Democratic leaders around the world. I think there's probably 2/3 of the United States doesn't like you. I mean, some of those people actually will hold their nose and vote for you, but most of them are like, okay, we had enough of this. You're denigrating Democratic leaders, but you're praising dictators.
I'm still waiting for you to say something that's a negative. I'm hearing a lot of good things.
Well, I mean, listen, I mean, that's the way you hear things. You've always lived in that reality distortion field. That's why when Stormy's talking about a shiitake mushroom, you're seeing a mushroom cloud. God bless you. I wish I could live with that level of denial, but you're doing a good job of it. And you got a great rap because you convinced a lot of people of what you're doing is good for them. But you left those people out in the cold the other night. I don't know what that was all about. You had paramedics coming in and treating people for hypothermia in Nebraska. But I don't know. I mean, they seem to like you anyway, sir.
Our people are tough. That's the thing. The left is full of these soft people, and the never Trumpers like yourself, very soft in your big library with books, showing off all your books. My people are tough. Okay, in Nebraska, they don't mind the cold. They would walk on broken glass to see their president. And we're thinking about doing that at our next rally, just as sort of, how Tony Robbins, you ever heard of Tony Robbins?
Yeah,
sort of a big
sure.
motivational guy. Not as motivational as me, but pretty good. And he'll have people walk on hot coals and things to sort of at my next super spreader rally, we're going to have broken glass everywhere, and we're going to ask people to walk barefoot, and it's going to prove the loyalty. And that's what our country needs. We need strong patriots who are loyal to their leader, not sort of soft people who decide that they'll go with Sleepy Joe because they're too scared of greatness. We're making America great. And sometimes to make things great, sometimes it calls for great sacrifice of mostly people in blue states. And I think that's important.
All right. Well, I would recommend hot coals though too, because we're getting into the winter, and so the broken glass and hot coals may also.
And that would be, that's a great, see, this is why I call you. That would be a great idea because It would also help our great coal miners. We're going to order huge amounts of coal for our rallies. And then it can be used for blackface for Halloween. So people don't realize how strong coal is as a multi-purpose item. It can destroy the environment. It can be used for great rally tests, and it can be used for Halloween costumes. So when I said we were bringing back coal, I meant it, and we're going to bring it back very strongly this week. So
I hear you, sir. I mean,
excuse me.
You're a super talented guy when it comes to marketing.
And we're going to market one more term because Obama got 2 terms. And I will admit to you and you alone, if I don't get a second term, I don't really care. We're off the record right now, by the way. If I get a second term, I don't care about making anything great, but I will look at Obama and say, look at me. Never did politics, 2 terms, just like you. And that will make me feel good. That will make me feel very strong. So we're looking forward to that. But I think I'm going to get a second term.
But if you don't get it, what's going to happen to you, Mr. President? Go ahead. Tell me how do you see the future after the Bachelorette reality show?
Sure.
Bachelorette.
That's going to be a huge hit. So they'll probably franchise it out, and maybe Don Jr. will get his own. Once he's done with Kim Gargoyle, he'll probably want his own spin-off show. I think that we're going to start a conservative media empire, and I'm going to run it from Trump Tower in Russia. And on top of that, I think we're going to have a whole media empire. We're going to probably take on Fox News. That's what's so great about this is Fox News, like Dr. Frankenstein, sort of helped create me. And then I'm going to destroy it. So it's sort of a heartwarming tale of Trump destroying Fox.
Let me ask you something about your friend, President Putin. He just went to a national mask mandate in Russia. Is he getting soft, sir? I mean, what do you think of him?
Did this just happened?
Yes, this just happened, yes.
Well, that's why I've been forming more strong and powerful alliances with Joe Bolsonaro in Brazil, who they call the Brazilian Trump because he's like me, but he waxes. And I think that's who we need to form more strong alliances with, because I'm actually disappointed to hear you say that. I didn't realize, because Putin has been one of the strongest great leaders I think the world has ever seen. And for him to go to a mask mandate, if that's what he thinks is good for his country, I guess I can't tell him what to do. But
you wouldn't follow his lead because you have so much respect for him?
I think it makes me look stronger than Putin, which is a great compliment because he's one of the strongest people in the world. But other than Kim Jong-un, who can bench press 600 pounds. It's true. I read it in a newsletter he puts out. But Putin went to a mask mandate. That's interesting because I wouldn't think he'd do that. And it's, that's actually great news for me because it now means that I'm probably, I would say, the toughest leader in the whole world. So now I definitely have to get a second term. We're going to start putting that on campaign ads. Tougher than Putin, Trump 2020. So thank you for that. That's why I call you, for the great intel. I have a couple of questions for you, if I can ask, if that's okay. Of course, it's okay.
Sure.
I'm picking this time frame randomly. What were the greatest 11 days of your life?
Well, other than the birth of my children, it was working for you, sir. Those are a lot. And by the way, just so you know, I choose to think of it as 954,000 seconds because it just makes me think of it as a longer period of time than 11 days.
Wow, that's 950,000 sex sessions with me, if you put it in those sort of terms.
954,000.
Well, no, I know, but I go, sometimes you go longer than a second. Okay, sometimes it's, you wear them out, as they say.
Yes.
But, okay, that's good. Well, obviously your children were never elected president, so I don't know why they're sort of above working for me, but that's, you're not as tough as me, you're not as tough as Putin, so that's okay. What about Steve Bannon? What do you think? I know that the one time I heard you get sort of in public, get very nasty, was with Steve Bannon. You're a cool customer. That's what I liked about you. But with Steve Bannon, you got you said some nasty things about Steve. Are you and Steve
I
okay?
thought I was saying it off the record to somebody whose family I knew a long time, but that's okay. He brought that to CNN. But I got to tell you something. You know, you and Steve. Could you imagine you and Steve together the last 3 years? I mean, this white nationalist lunatic. And by the way, what I said about Steve Bannon wasn't true. It was a little fake news on my part. I mean, Steve obviously is not doing hot yoga or the stretches needed to do what I said he did. And so, you know, that was fake news. And I apologize for that, sir, because I was your communications director and I know how you feel about fake news, but I gave out some fake news about Steve. But could you imagine you two lunatics together inside the White House over the last 3 years, the amount of destruction you would have perpetrated on the American people?
I
And the
was
world?
actually, the posters were going to say Butch Cassidy and the Sun Clan Kid. That's what we were going to sort of market it as. And I was, you know, but he was a showboat. He was a showboat. He was out there for himself, and we can't have that. We can't have it.
Are you going to pardon him, sir?
Oh, I think what you're going to see is if Sleepy Joe somehow wins, we're going to be doing drive-through pardons at the White House. It's going to be a beautiful, just anybody who's been convicted of something, you know, non-African Americans, non-Latinos, non-women, well, non-attractive women. We're going to have just a drive-through where Bill Barr is just going to be stamping pardons for people. It's called criminal justice reform. Okay. We're doing very strong criminal justice reform. It's going to be basically my lame duck session is going to be golf, Fox News, pardons, McDonald's. That's it. So
Well,
I'm
you
actually
know,
looking forward to it. I think it's going to be the
you know, with
greatest
your
lame duck
personality,
period
I
in
know you'll
history.
get something out of that. You'll get some, you know, compensation or something like that. So it's pretty good marketing device.
Oh no, it's going to be branded for sure. There's going to be sponsorships available. Do you think I should, because you're an attorney as well, aren't you a Harvard
Sure.
law guy?
Yes, sir.
Well, I think, do you think I can make Mike Pence president and then he can pardon me?
Well, I think you can do that. I think it'll cause a little bit of a controversy, and you know, you got to really convince the vice president to do that. There'll be a lot of pressure on him not to do that. But I don't know. You know, maybe you can convince Sleepy Joe to pardon you. You never know. It's an interesting country that we're living in.
Well, if we catch Sleepy Joe on a sleepy day, I think he might just go, and then pardon me. And then, you know, Koala Bear Harris will be furious, I'm sure, but I'll be
In
pardoned.
the drive-by pardons, you may want to think about pardoning yourself, sir. It might be a good idea.
Oh, like a McDonald's worker sort of having McDonald's for lunch. I'll just get
Exactly.
the discount, get the company discount. And okay, well, you know, you were not so nasty. I thought you might be nastier. So thank you for still showing great
You're
respect.
President of the United States. I got a lot of respect for that office. Have to be polite.
Well, thank you. You know, not everybody says that, and I respect that, you know, because as you know, I'm probably the greatest and last president in American history. So it's sort of crazy not to show me respect. One last thing before I let you go. I know you're got to be busy doing anti-Trump stuff, and I won't tell anybody we did this. Okay, it'll be my secret that I'll tweet about later. But what advice to pull off another Trump miracle? We're calling it a Trump miracle. What advice other than violence at the polls, breaking poll machines, shutting down the U.S. Postal Service, and having Bill Barr arrest Joe Biden and Kokomo Harris? What advice would you give me to pull off a Trump miracle in a few days?
Well, I think you got to do something about President Obama because he's out there just eviscerating you. And I know your personality. He's so tough on you, so rough on you. You're not going to want to elevate him on your Twitter feed, you know, because I know, you know, when you're getting bullied, you don't like it because you like to be the guy doing the bullying. So you got to figure out something to suppress President Obama because he's out there just destroying you right now.
You think should we get ICE to deport him back to Kenya?
I don't know, sir. That's got to be on the list. You got to get a whiteboard, give Steve Bannon a call. I'm sure he'll come up with some crafty ideas for you.
The human whiteboard. We call him the human whiteboard because he loves being white so much, and he's full of ideas. even though he's more of a red, sort of alcoholic,
Yeah,
ruddy.
it's sort of, he's got that skin product, right? That SNL said, skin product by blotch. It's a ruddy alcoholic look for the guy.
All right, so deport Obama. Thank you, Mr. Anthony Scaramucci. I would say, I would put you in the top 5 advisors I've had. Okay, we've had a lot of talent, but I'd put you in the top 5.
In the top 10 communications directors that you've had, because I think you've had 9 communications directors. So I'm hoping I'm at least in the top 10.
What do you think of Kelly McDonald, or whatever her name is, the new one?
Oh, Kaylee. Well, listen, I always got along with her, sir. I mean, she's for you, so it's a little weird to see her go over the top for you. But you have this wonderful magic where you're able to convince people to do things that are against their best interests, and including stand outside in the freezing cold with no mask on during a pandemic. So, I don't know how you do it, sir, but God knows, only God knows how you do it.
Maybe that should be our next theme song, God Only Knows by the Beach Boys.
Yep.
Well, all right, I'm going to hang up now. So thank you very much.
Let's stay in
Wise
touch
counsel.
with each other. I'm looking forward to us staying in touch with each other over the years.
I will. And you'll be written about very nastily in my presidential memoir, as they call it.
I also want a small spot in the Trump library. Okay, where are you going to put that library, sir? Have you thought about it?
Well, we're looking at, there's a dumpster behind an Arby's in Florida that we're thinking about maybe putting up a sort of Trump library.
You'll have like an eternal flame there, like the Kennedy cemetery, the Kennedy tomb, of the eternal dumpster fire going.
Right. It'll just be a bag of my poop constantly on fire to honor what we've done to the country.
Well, if that's the case, because I've seen the sizes of your poops. That will last a very long time, sir.
Nobody's ever shit like me, and that's another poster we're going to put out before the election.
No question about that. See, that is definitely not fake news, sir.
Thank you. And we're going to see about deporting Obama. I think that was great. Great October surprise. Knock, knock, Barack. It's time to go. Bye-bye. Back to Kenya. So thank you.
Good luck in your post-presidency, sir.
In 8 to 12 years, I will think about that. Thank you very much. Have a good day. We'll see what happens.
God bless America.